On July 8, 2014, a 28-year-old German man called his mother from an airport in Bulgaria. He was terrified. He told her that someone was trying to kill him, that he couldn't trust anyone, that she needed to cancel his health insurance immediately because he didn't want anyone to know where he was. Then he hung up. Security cameras captured what happened next. Lars Mittank walked into the airport doctor's office. Then, seconds later, he bolted. He sprinted through the airport, leapt over a fence, and disappeared into a field on the outskirts of the city. He has never been seen again. Lars Mittank was, by every account, a completely normal young man. He was 28 years old, from Varna, a small town in northern Germany. People who knew him described him as easygoing, fun-loving, and adventurous. He had no history of mental illness, no problems with drugs, no reason whatsoever for anyone to want to harm him. In late June of 2014, Lars traveled to Golden Sands, a popular beach resort town on the Black Sea coast of Bulgaria. He went with a group of friends, the kind of summer holiday that thousands of young Europeans take every year. For most of the trip, everything was fine, but near the end of the holiday, Lars got into a fight. The details are somewhat unclear, but what is known is that Lars got into a physical altercation with a group of men, reportedly fans of a rival football club. During the fight, Lars suffered a ruptured eardrum. Because of his injury, his doctor advised him not to fly. Flying with a ruptured eardrum can be extremely painful and potentially dangerous due to the pressure changes during the flight. So Lars stayed behind while his friends flew home. He checked into a hotel in Varna, the nearest major city, to wait for his eardrum to heal before making the journey back to Germany. He was alone, in a foreign country, and something was about to go very wrong. In the days that followed, Lars began sending his mother increasingly strange and alarming messages. He told her he was being followed, that there were men watching him, that he didn't feel safe, that the men from the fight had found out where he was staying and were coming after him. His mother was worried, but tried to reassure him. Maybe he was just stressed. Maybe the injury and being alone in a foreign country was getting to him. But Lars's messages became more and more erratic. He moved hotels. He told his mother not to tell anyone where he was. He became convinced that people around him, strangers in the street, staff at the hotel, were somehow connected to the men who were after him. There are two schools of thought on what was happening during this period. Some believe Lars may have suffered some kind of acute psychological episode, perhaps triggered by stress, the injury, or possibly a substance he was unknowingly given. A ruptured eardrum can in rare cases affect balance and perception, and being isolated in a foreign country with a physical injury can be deeply disorienting. Others believe that Lars's fear was real, that something genuinely happened to him in those days alone in Varna that we simply don't know about. What happened next was captured on camera. On July 8, 2014, Lars Mittank arrived at Varna Airport to finally fly home to Germany, but he never boarded his flight. Airport security cameras captured Lars behaving erratically in the terminal. He appeared agitated, nervous, constantly looking over his shoulder. At one point, he approached an airport security officer and then suddenly backed away, as if he had changed his mind or become frightened. Then Lars called his mother. He told her he was at the airport, but that he couldn't get on the plane. He said the men were there, that they had followed him to the airport. He asked her urgently to cancel his health insurance. This detail has baffled investigators for years. Why health insurance? Some theorize he believed canceling it would make him harder to track. Others believe it points to a state of serious psychological distress. His mother, now terrified, urged him to go to the airport doctor to find someone official who could help him. Lars walked to the airport medical office and went inside. The doctor, seeing that Lars was clearly distressed, began to speak with him. And then something happened. Lars looked out of the office window. His expression changed. He stood up abruptly, pushed past the doctor, ran out of the medical office, sprinted through the airport terminal, and leapt over a perimeter fence. The last known footage of Lars Mittank shows him running at full speed across a field on the outskirts of Varna Airport, disappearing into the tree line. He was never seen again. When Lars failed to return home, his family reported him missing. German and Bulgarian authorities launched a search. The area around Varna Airport was searched extensively. The fields and forested areas where Lars was last seen were combed by search teams. Nothing was found. His passport was never used. His bank account was never accessed. His phone went silent. In 2015, a Romanian newspaper reported that a man matching Lars's description had been spotted living rough in the forests near the Bulgarian-Romanian border, disheveled, disoriented, and refusing contact with people. Investigators looked into the report but were never able to confirm it. His family traveled to Bulgaria multiple times to search for him personally, speaking to locals and distributing flyers. They have never given up hope. As of today, Lars Mittank has never been found. The case of Lars Mittank has captivated the internet for years, partly because of the haunting airport footage and partly because no single theory fully explains everything. Theory 1: a psychotic episode. Many medical professionals who have reviewed the case believe Lars suffered an acute psychotic break, possibly triggered by stress, isolation, the physical trauma of his injury, or a combination of all three. Symptoms of acute psychosis can include paranoia, believing you are being followed or targeted, and erratic, impulsive behavior. This theory explains a lot. The paranoid messages, the erratic behavior at the airport, the sudden sprint into the unknown, but it doesn't explain what triggered it in a man with no prior history of mental illness. Theory 2: he was drugged. Some believe Lars was given something, perhaps at the original party or in the days afterward, that induced a prolonged paranoid state. Certain substances can trigger psychosis-like symptoms that last for days or even weeks. The timing of his breakdown, occurring after the fight and in the days spent alone in Varna, has led some to speculate that something happened to him during that period that has never come to light. Theory 3: his fear was real. A smaller but vocal group believes that Lars was genuinely being followed and targeted, that the men from the fight had real intentions of harming him, and that his fear was not paranoia, but a rational response to a genuine threat. If this is true, what happened to Lars after he ran into that field is a deeply troubling question. Theory 4: he is still alive, living off the grid. Some believe Lars, in his paranoid state, deliberately disappeared, cutting off all contact, living under a false identity, or in isolation. The reported sighting near the Romanian border keeps this theory alive for some. The truth is, nobody knows. Lars Mittank was 28 years old when he vanished. He would be in his late 30s today. His family still searches for answers. His mother has spoken publicly about the nightmare of not knowing, of watching that airport footage over and over, seeing her son's terrified face, and having no idea what he was running from or where he went. The CCTV footage of Lars sprinting out of Varna Airport is one of the most watched and most discussed pieces of footage in the true crime and mystery community. Millions of people have watched it, thousands of theories have been written about it, and yet nobody knows what Lars Mittank saw through that office window that made him run. Nobody knows what he was so afraid of, and nobody knows where he went. If you've never seen the airport footage, I'd encourage you to look it up after this video. It is one of the most unsettling things you will ever watch. Whatever happened to Lars Mittank on that summer day in Bulgaria, the answer is still out there somewhere, and somewhere, maybe, so is he. If you have any information about the disappearance of Lars Mittank, please contact the relevant authorities. What do you think happened? Leave your theory in the comments. I read every single one. This has been The Dark Ledger. I'll see you in the next one.